First President Obama swapping accused Army deserter Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl for 5 Taliban held at Gitmo. And tonight, there is news that Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl may not get time behind bars. The Army officer in charge of Bergdahl's case recommending no jail time, and this coming despite the fact that Bergdahl's charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison. So what do you think? Should Bergdahl go to jail or not? Vote yes or no using hashtag Greta. And now U.S. Army Major General Bob Scales goes on the record. Nice to see you, sir.
Hi, Greta.
First of all, what are the odds, based on the process where we are, that Bergdahl will get any jail time?
Yeah, I think it's virtually zero. It's very difficult. On a special court-martial is like a misdemeanor court.
So he's been knocked down from the possibility of a general down to a special.
Now, unlike a grand jury, this is a recommendation, not an indictment. So it goes up to the man in charge, a 4-star general named General Abrams, who can actually bump it from special back to general. But that's very rare in the military court system. It's more likely that he bumps it from a general down to a special. So I think he's going to walk.
So what was the justification or the reasoning behind the special, the recommendation for special?
First of all, let me say, I have mined this thing down to the 3rd decimal point. This is not political. This is something that was done within the Army system. And my view is, after reading the 15.6 and the Article 32, the grand jury there was just an enormous amount of sympathy for Bergdahl on the part of the jurors. That would
be the military.
They're all military. That would be that Bergdahl has suffered enough at the hands of the Taliban. There's no reason to put him in jail, even though we stipulate the fact that he's a deserter and he misbehaved before the enemy in a combat zone, which, of course, as you know, are very, very serious charges.
I must have been a little bit surprised at this. If this were in the civilian court, I would understand that. But because the military is so vastly different and needing to send a message to everybody in the military is that, you know, the last thing you want to do is sort of, quote, reward a deserter, Greta, even if he got treated poorly.
Greta, for those of us who've served in combat, the most sacred thing a soldier holds dear is never to let his buddies down. It's this idea of the band of brothers effect, that you are willing to die, not so much for your country, but more or less to keep your buddies alive. And here's a guy that not only walked away from his buddies, but then put his buddies through a 45-day period of hell as they went all over Afghanistan trying to find him. And after all that, he gets a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor in a military court is something that you charge someone for shoplifting.
Is this one person making this recommendation, or is this a group of
That's
military?
A great question. There's a Major General named Kenneth Dahl who conducted the initial investigation. It's called a 15-6, headed by a general. And he's the one that started this movement down the path from going from a general to a special court-martial. The guy that ran the Article 32 is a lieutenant colonel. It's extremely unlikely he's going to go against the recommendations of a general. So we'll see what happens. But we have one more shot to get this right when it goes to the 4-star general, General Robert Abrams, who can correct this injustice and give this guy a general court-martial.
General Scales, nice to see you, sir.
You too, Greta.